The Fire and the Knife, a restaurateur's epic true comeback. The kitchen roared like a storm. Fans, flames, plates clattering on pass, orders shouted in a chorus that never learned to whisper. Miguel, head chef and owner, used to love this sound. Lately it felt like sandpaper on his nerves. He was 42, moving like a man 10 years older, buttoning his jacket over a gut that wasn't part of the uniform. At a yearly checkup squeezed between lunch and dinner service, the doctor circled numbers: hypertension, prediabetic A1C, triglycerides too high, and suggested lifestyle changes, as if Miguel had a spare life in dry storage. On the back of the crumpled printout he wrote a single line he could say out loud without lying. "I will build a body that can carry this kitchen." Under it, smaller and harder. No drama, only evidence. He folded the paper and slid it into the knife roll he touched 100 times a day. If motivation showed up, fine. If not, the calendar would. The fire and the knife would become tools again, not threats. Day 1 refused the montage. After last plates left the pass, Miguel didn't flop onto a bar stool and pour a nightcap. He set his phone to airplane mode, filled a liter bottle, and walked the block around his restaurant 6 times. 10 minutes on purpose, breath in through the nose, out like fog on glass. In the prep room, under that hum of fluorescent lights, he built a circuit that touched everything without waking every old ache. Box-height goblet squats with a flour sack for load. Incline push-ups on the stainless counter, elbows tucked, ribs stacked. One arm rose with a cambro full of onions, lats firing. Suitcase carries down the alley with 2 cases of mineral water. Posture tall. A slow forearm plank on the clean mat. Glutes lightly on, exhale long. 2 clean reps left in the tank on every move. Always. He filmed a set, winced at flared ribs, and wrote 2 cues on masking tape stuck to the walk-in door. Exhale to stack. Knees track toes. Baselines went into a pocket notebook with the day's specials. Waist at the navel. Max clean push-ups. Easy mile walk time. Resting heart rate after 3 minutes seated. He closed the entry with a line he'd copy 100 times. Showed up. Not perfect. Proud. Structure turned a vow into mise en place. Kitchens live and die by prep lists, so Miguel gave his body one. 3 training windows got blocked like reservations he wouldn't at a bump. Sunday late morning before the week, sorter. Tuesday dawn before deliveries. Thursday, mid-afternoon between staff meal and dinner rush. The program stayed boring in the way knives are boring, yet hold entire careers together. 3 full-body sessions that hit the patterns he'd need outside the gym, squat or lunge. Hinge, push-pull, carry, and core. So frequency stayed high and decision fatigue stayed low. Warm-up. 5 minutes of brisk walking past the fishmonger and back. 15-20 band pull-aparts. 2 ramp sets for the first lift. Technique turned fear into leverage. He wrote 5 cues on a grease pencil line above the pass and read them like tickets. For squats and lunges, plant a tripod foot, big toe, little toe, heel, stack ribs over pelvis, let knees track over toes, drive the floor away like pushing a heavy oven back into place. For hinges and deadlifts, crack a walnut in your armpits to lock lats, push hips back like closing the walk-in with your hip. Keep the load close, long neutral spine, finish with hips through, not a lower back yank. For pressing, screw hands into steel or bar, elbows about 45 to on push-ups or bench, biceps by ears overhead, brace before you press. For pulling, chest proud, shoulders down and back, elbows toward hip pockets, pause and squeeze like you mean it. For carries and core, zip the ribs, walk tall, no swaying. Let the midline earn its paycheck. He filmed 1 set per main lift each week on a phone propped between hotel pans, fixed 1 thing per lift, and ended sets the moment reps got messy. Strong stopped being a number. It became a shape he could repeat when the printer spit 20 tickets at once. Cardio stopped being punishment and became the engine that made 12-hour shifts survivable. The 2+1 rule fit between services. 2 Zone 2 sessions and 1 short interval day. Zone 2 meant conversational. 25 to 40 minutes walking the hillside behind the market. Easy cycling on the battered gym bike in the office. Sometimes a light jog when the city was still asleep. Pace where full sentences were easy and heart rate lived around 60–70% of max. Intervals were joint kind and brief. 8 rounds of 20 seconds smooth hard on the bike with 100 seconds easy, bracketed by 5-minute warm-up and cooldown. The quiet hero was neat, non-exercise activity, stacked like parsley on plates, walking produce calls, parking farther, taking stairs when hands were empty, 10-minute loops after staff meal to blunt glucose spikes. Steps slid from 6 to 8 to 10,000 most days, without turning into a second job. When fat loss stalled, he added 15 minutes of Zone 2 before he added more punishment. Engines are built in hours, nobody posts. Food had always been Miguel's language. The problem was, he spoke it to comfort, not to fuel. He didn't need a new cookbook, he needed a mise en place for his own plate. Calories set by goal, body weight in pounds, X12 for fat loss, X14 for maintenance. Adjusted every 14 days by trend. Not a noisy day after tasting menu service. Protein turned non-negotiable at 0.8, 1.0 g per pound of goal body weight, spread across 3 to 4 meals. He built autopilot plates that wouldn't collapse under rush. Half produce, a palm of lean protein, a cupped hand of high-fiber carbs, a thumb of healthy fats. Breakfasts at home, Greek yogurt with whey and berries on slow mornings, eggs and oats when the prep list was taller. Cottage cheese with pineapple and toast when the brain needed quiet. Staff meal became a performance, not a hazard. He led with protein, added a heap of greens, kept sauces on the side, saved the focaccia for days that demanded it. Post-service dinners rotated salmon and potatoes with broccoli, turkey chili with beans and rice, a one-pan stir-fry with frozen veg and whatever protein had survived the rush. He drank 2 to 3 liters of water daily, marked lines on a Cambro, and added a pinch of salt after sweaty services. Cravings got a bridge snack. Yogurt, berries, a few dark chocolate chips, then lights out instead of last call wine and a late-night raid on pastry. Supplements were optional, minimal, whey for convenience, creatine monohydrate 3 to 5 g daily, caffeine if tolerated. 95% of progress came from food he'd repeat on a tired Tuesday when the dishwasher called in sick. Recovery turned effort into results, and a chef learned to plate sleep with the same care as a tasting menu. He built a cave out of a small apartment. Blackout curtains, a fan that hummed like the walk-in, the phone charging in the kitchen so alarms didn't turn into scrolling. A landing strip saved his nervous system from service brain. Lights down, a warm shower, 10 pages of a paperback that wasn't about restaurants, 2 minutes of slow exhale breathing. The 5-minute mobility loop unfroze tight hips and scolded erectors before they wrote the next day. S-script, couch stretch, thoracic opener over a rolled towel, ankle rocks at the wall, 3 slow, world's greatest reps. Every 6th to 8th week, he planned a deload on purpose, trim total sets by 30–40%. Sharpen technique, leave the gym with caged energy, because you can't sprint a marathon and call it craft. Pain got a framework instead of fear. At 3:10 discomfort, reduce load and keep the pattern. At 4–5–10, change the variation. At 6–10 or sharp pain, stop, walk, reassess. Longevity beats bravado. The line doesn't care about your deadlift PR if your back is ruined. Setbacks arrived like health inspectors. Unannounced, unavoidable. A compressor died mid-service. A sous chef quit with a text. A wedding party demanded 8 soufflés at once. Old Miguel would have made the night part of his body. New Miguel shrank the plan without surrendering it. 10 focused minutes at 1 a.m. Goblet squats to a box, incline push-ups, rows, a slow plank, until the timer sang. When his knee muttered, back squats became goblets to a box. When shoulders hissed, presses turned neutral grip. When stress tried to colonize his chest, eccentrics slowed until positions were his again. A resistance band lived in the dry storage. 3 sets of pull-aparts happened before inventory. The walk-in door wore a tiny 4-box grid. Training, protein, steps, sleep, and a grease pencil checkmark appeared nightly because streaks are too valuable to break. 3 identity lines went onto the expo ticket spike where he'd see them every night. I train on busy days. I choose protein. I never miss twice. Cheesy? Maybe. Effective? Absolutely. By week 8, the world got lighter before he did. The jacket buttoned easier. The stairs up from the cellar stopped taxing his lungs like debt. He could carry 2 stock pots without pausing on the landing. Push-ups doubled, plank time passed a minute. Deadlifts felt like a handshake with gravity instead of a dare. 2 dates got circled on the calendar taped to the walk-in. The city's Charity Hill climb at dawn, and, 6 weeks later, a community strength morning with a novice deadlift and farmer carry medley. Training tilted without turning circus. Zone 2 found inclines behind the market. Weekend rucks put water bottles in a backpack. Carries ended every session, posture glued to his bones. Deadlifts stayed a rep or two in reserve, bar close, lats on, hips through, back neutral. He rehearsed event mornings like a menu launch. Conservative warm-ups, chalk routine, breath on the pick, eyes on the horizon, a mantra he could whisper when doubt tried to write specials. Own the setup. The rep will follow. The hills smelled like wet grass and new bread from a bakery opening early. Miguel started slower than pride allowed, shoulders soft, jaw unclenched. At the corner where he used to bargain with himself, the old voice offered later like an amuse-bouche he hadn't ordered. He lengthened his exhale and kept moving. He didn't sprint the finish. He arrived steady, lungs loud but obedient, and laughed the way people laugh when a weight finally puts itself down. 6 weeks later, under gulls and chalk dust, he stepped to the platform, pulled a clean opener, earned a second, then a small PR that felt less like conquering iron and more like setting down a story. The carry wobbled once, then straightened. He walked tall with chalk on his palms and an unplanned grin. 90 days after the knife roll vow, the lab printout read like a change of menu. Blood pressure inside the lines, resting heart rate down, waist -3 inches, fasting glucose trending quiet. Lunch rush still roared, but his body didn't flinch. This is the handoff, plated hot. Write your why on paper you can touch and tape it where excuses live. Knife roll, walk-in door, phone case. Block 3 45-minute windows and defend them like the last table on a Saturday night. Run the simple split that hits squat, hinge, push, pull, carry, core. Keep 1 to 2 clean reps in reserve on compounds, and progress 1 variable weekly. Add a rep, the smallest plate, slower eccentrics, or shorter rests. Use the 2+1 cardio rule, and collect steps like floor sweepings that make the place shine. Build protein-anchored plates you'll actually eat when the printer won't stop. Sleep in a cave you build on purpose. Land your nervous system like you land a sauce. Film 1 set per lift, fix 1 cue, repeat next week. When a day explodes, shrink the plan. When a week wobbles, never miss twice. Tomorrow morning, before the ovens wake, do this without negotiating with your feelings. Back squat 3x8, bench 3x8, row 3x10, farmer carry 4x40 steps, plank 3x40 seconds, then a 20-minute walk at a talkable pace. When the voice says later, answer now. When a rep gets messy, end the set. When a day collapses, take the win that still exists. Walk, plank, protein, sleep. Repeat until the fire and the knife are tools again, and the body that carries your kitchen can also carry your life.